let's look at this Deshaun Watson situation from another angle, from football. We'll start with a football angle, then we want to get into him personally. But look, I do think, Rob, if you're the Cleveland Browns, under the circumstances, I mean, this is great for you. I mean, and obviously, I hope.
It's their best case scenario. There's no doubt.
We are not saying it's great. I'm sure they aren't even saying it's great because all the way around, it's a bad situation with what happened. But from a football perspective, strictly, they couldn't ask for more. And Rob, this is why, and again, as time went on, I started to think, you know what, it's not going to be a whole season suspension like you and I kind of thought it would be at first.
When it kept coming, you remember, that's what we thought. It just kept getting worse.
Oh, yeah. And the fact they knew something, and the fact that they didn't go after me, I don't know that they would have had they known it was going to be if they had thought it was going to be a year-long suspension. But Rob, if they thought it was going to be a full year, I think they should have went at Jimmy Garoppolo. And the fact that they didn't, I feel like means they understood it won't be a full year. Might be half a season, might be less as it is at this point. And so they're going to go with Jacoby Brissett. And Rob, if you look at their schedule, I mean, they should go 3-3. They should. Because remember, they got a great team around their quarterback. They have a good chance, I'd say, to go 4-2. And if they go that, remember, Deshaun Watson can practice with the team. He can play in preseason games. And week 4, once the regular season starts, week 4, he can go and be with the team and start getting ready, for his return, at least as it stands right now, in week 7. So I think they're in great shape football-wise. And, Rob, here's their schedule. Their first game, of course, Baker Mayfield and the Panthers. They should be able to win that. The Jets could be a win. Pittsburgh, I mean, Pittsburgh is always tough, even though we know they're not going to be that good this year. That could be a win. Atlanta, those are their first 4 games. Then they have the Chargers, which would be a tough one, obviously. And then New England. I don't want to say they're going 5-1. Well, but 5 of those games are very winnable.
But here's the other flip side to that. That if you don't win those games that you would expect it to win, that's where your season gets turned. Because you're right, with Deshaun Watson, you would be 5-1. But that doesn't mean that automatically without him, you're going to be 5-1.
No, it's certainly not automatic.
And that's what's scary is that
they could be.
What if they're 6 games?
2-4.
2-4.
2-4 is insurmountable.
Right, but 2-4 losing games against those kind of teams is where you would go back and go, here's where our season was derailed because he missed games that were against easier opponents and we didn't win those games. I'm saying that's the flip side if it doesn't work out.
Right. But I'm just saying when you lose, most teams, if they lost their starting quarterback, would not necessarily be in position to go 4-2 or 3-3. So that's all I'm saying, that they have a good shot. But, Rob, I also think that we want to get into Deshaun Watson. And you said it earlier when we were talking before the show. What did you feel like a big sentiment out there was about him?
He got off. He won. Everything's come up roses for him, and he's the big winner in this despite the mess that was caused. But, Chris, I'm going to tell you, I don't believe that. And I still think that Deshaun Watson winds up being the biggest loser in this. And he might have gotten slapped on the wrist by the judge. But I do believe that this guy had such a spotless reputation and was a upstanding member of society and people look to. I do believe that he's been damaged, and good, honest people will never look at him the same. I'm not saying he's guilty of any crime, but people look at you and your actions. And I don't think you can get that back. Like, you've heard that people go, where do I go get my character back? Like when you've been assassinated, when things happen, where do I go get that? I don't care what the judge said, the arbitrator said. I don't care what the NFL says. There's still a feeling, I think, from good, honest people who look at this and say, he's not who I thought he was. And I'll give you, like, you see Will Smith now. Prior to the Academy Award, Chris, Will Smith was somebody people idolized and looked at and said, what a great guy. Oh, my God, Will Smith is this, is that. He, to this very day, is scuffling to repair his image. I don't think people will ever look at Will.
It's only been a few months.
Will Smith the same way. I'm just saying, I don't believe that people will look at him the same way. And many who are dismissive of what took place and have probably, had done some bad things in their past or whatever. I get that. And people who are willing to look away and celebrate a guy who they felt got away with some highly questionable behavior. And that's what I'll call it. Highly questionable behavior. He might be a good football player to a lot of people, and they're happy for him. But I'm not as sure he's a good man when I find out the way that he carried himself behind closed doors with strange women. So he's the winner. He's got the guaranteed contract. He's only going to get 6 games and not a year. But I don't think he won. I don't think Deshaun Watson will ever be viewed the same way by all people prior to this mess that he's been involved in.
Well, obviously, this is a huge stain on his reputation. I mean, he didn't just have a reputation as a guy. He's never been in trouble. No, he had the opposite. He was viewed as like a guy of incredibly high character and all of that. So that will always be on his resume, so to speak. But I'm going to throw some names at you, Rob Parker. Was Kobe Bryant able to move on?
Different time. Kobe wouldn't.
I don't care. It wasn't that long ago.
Chris,
Kobe. Wasn't that long ago.
Kobe would not, in this current climate, it would not be the same. I'm telling you, it wouldn't be.
Kobe was celebrated,
Chris,
in this climate.
Okay,
his incident didn't happen in this climate.
Can I say
but
that
he was celebrated in this climate by women as well as men.
Would the team have flown him back and forth if he was involved in a rape case in 2022?
I'm not saying had it happened in 2022. I'm saying, though, he was celebrated. It wasn't something that happened 50 years ago.
Chris, it wasn't.
It was something that happened in this century.
There was also people who were down even when he got what did he win? I just forgot. What did he win?
The Oscar?
Was it an Oscar?
But there's always going to be a few people
I'm just
here
saying,
and there.
everybody wasn't on board.
Everybody's not on board with anybody.
I'm just saying.
I mean, seriously, everybody wasn't on board with Martin Luther King. Everybody wasn't on board with Jesus Christ. Like, come on, everybody ain't on board with everybody. You can't sit here and say that the overwhelming sentiment toward Kobe Bryant had moved far from what happened in Colorado.
I'm telling you that if that happened today,
Rob, you act
different.
like it was 1973.
Chris, it is different. Things have changed a lot.
Big Ben.
It didn't happen.
Was he able to move on? Ezekiel Elliott. He was suspended in 2017.
Chris,
nobody talks about that now.
Ask Bill Cosby, who wound up going to jail.
Well. Bill Cosby just got out of jail.
No, but he went to jail. If you would have told me
and Deshaun Watson is not going to jail.
If you told me 20 years ago that people would look sideways at Bill Cosby, I tell you, you're crazy. And that Bill Cosby can never regain that. I don't know what that has
to do with anything.
You think people look at Bill Cosby the same way?
Michael Jackson.
You think people look at Bill Cosby the same way?
Look. You are if Deshaun Watson, and again, it's always on his resume. I'm not saying that. There's always going to be some groups and people that keep bringing that up and won't look at him. I don't know how many people look at him the quote unquote same. But if he goes out there and has a great football career going forward, he should. Now he has not even expressed remorse. he continues to assert that he didn't do anything. But he has to find some way that and beyond just football, it starts with him being great as an athlete and a player. And then if he does things in the community, he should do things for women's groups. He should be outspoken about this type of thing. Then he can definitely restore his name. Now, again, it'll never go away. But I just gave you 4 examples that happened in recent times of people that moved past that. So, and I don't like you saying good, honest people, because people can change too. He could come out and say he understands he was wrong in certain instances. He put the women in bad positions and so on and so forth, and have a legitimate change. So I'm not going to say, all good and honest. If you move on and forgive him, you're not a good and honest person.
I didn't say that. I'm talking about.
You said good and honest people.
Talking about
will always look down on it.
That the way that they look at him, especially as you just said, he's refused to accept any responsibility. He said up there, "I'll never settle. I'll never settle. What would I settle for?" And now I know he's paid 22 women. So what? So I don't know. Why would you settle?
But you said during that time, a lot of times you settle just to make it go away.
No, but that should have been in the beginning, not after all the stuff. I'm talking about when people do that to try to work off what's going to happen. That's happened instead of getting into a legal situation. I'm talking about after all that came out, he still claimed he would never settle with any of those women.
Well,
and
it was still to make it go away. And again, I feel like, look, it's hard to take his word over 24 women. So I'm not here trying to go to bat and cape for him.
I didn't say you were.
I'm just saying I don't agree with the notion that he'll never be, viewed in a favorable light. That could very easily happen because I just talked about several people who've been viewed in favorable lights despite making mistakes. But I'll say this. Obviously, he doesn't win because this is a horrible thing. This is a shameful thing that people are associating you with. And even if it gets better later on, right now, this is shameful and it's terrible. That said, he has, my goodness, Rob, in spite of all of this that is swirling around him, and I think many people, certainly many people, I don't know if most, many people think he did something terrible. He got the best contract in, I'd argue, the history of football. $230 million guaranteed. He got a 6-game suspension. I hate to even put it like he's been winning because you're right. Like, it's hard to even use that term with him right now. But in a sense, he does keep coming out ahead so far. I mean, just from intangible terms, not in the intangibles you're talking about, but in tangible terms, it's kind of stunning. You get a contract, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, they didn't get. You get a better deal than them. You haven't played in almost 2 years or a year and a half. And then you get this favorable ruling. So I get why people are saying that because it does seem like it's coming out good for him so far. But